A fashion designer's impact goes beyond the runway. They change the way we look at ourselves and those around us. Video Fashion Designers chronicles their past successes and follows their evolution into the 21st century.
We just decided we're just going to try it. We're going to learn as much as we can. We realize it's going to take 30 years, hopefully, to get really good.
Little did the Rodarte girls know it would take nowhere near 30 years to get really good. Since their 2005 debut, Kate and Laura Mulleavy have been impressing the fashion crowd with an otherworldly melange of esoteric references rooted in their West Coast upbringing.
We're from Pasadena. A lot of our inspiration comes from California. We have a creative obsession with the landscape there. People could never quite understand the things that we made and where we were from. But I like that juxtaposition about things that seem unexpected.
With no formal fashion training, the cerebral UC Berkeley graduates struck out on an ambitious course of independent study. The sisters' innate skill is now magnified by their immaculate craftsmanship and rigorous attention to detail, garnering Rodarte acclaim from the front row to the red carpet.
Their things are so well made. Their buttons are covered, their snaps are covered, the lining is impeccable. The craftsmanship, you do not see craftsmanship at their age.
I adore the Rodarte girls. I think they're real artists. I took them into the museum and showed them the Charles James, and they just cried. They were so touched to see such beautiful, extraordinary clothes. And that's how I feel about their clothes.
It's amazing and fantastical and comes from this very refined and beautiful, magical imagination, but you can wear it. I mean, the clothes are very wearable.
I just think they make really artistic pieces, and there's a lot of thought and emotion that goes into everything.
With A-list approval and sustained support from the fashion elite, Rodarte went on to win the CFDA's 2008 Swarovski Award for Emerging Talent, and the following year took home the Trova for Women's Wear Designer of the Year, an unexpected accolade for the humble duo.
The CFDA just seems larger than life for us, so we haven't really processed it yet.
I think they have a really original and charming point of view. That's really their strength. Certainly we've really believed in them at Vogue and supported them through the CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund.
As their trophy case fills and their popularity flourishes, the Mulleavy sisters' future is as limitless as their unbound imaginations.
In America, at their age, to be doing this kind of work, the kind of production and finishing on their pieces, it's outstanding.
What they do is so brilliant, and everybody's already being so influenced by them. They're going to be absolutely huge. I really want to start collecting them for the museum.
When you see someone where you get that kind of emotion coming through, it's rare, and I think it touches a lot of people in a way that, fashion usually doesn't.
People ask when something happens that's really amazing if you feel more pressure. When we're working, we create a bubble, and no one really is allowed in it. So we're just swimming around in their own thoughts, and I think all that, any ideas about pressure kind of comes from there.
Rodarte, which was just shown today. It's two sisters from Pasadena, California. Absolutely beautiful show. I mean, it's a sort of fluttering chiffon dresses and beautiful, beautiful handwork. The effect it's stunning. It's stunning, the work they get out. I mean, really breathtaking.
The beginning of this collection started with an interest in Brancusi and modern art, and the idea that what was ancient was intrinsically modern. We melded two things. We were inspired by Greek myth and then really modern abstract form.
Well, our main inspiration really was we were really looking at Brancusi sculptures and the myth of Persephone, and we kept thinking about winter and the tale of how it was formed. Persephone's mother, Demeter, was the goddess of earth, and when she was stolen away to Hades, she wept.
But instead of classic Grecian draping, Rodarte interpreted their themes with elegant columns of flowing silk and chiffon waves, and referencing Persephone's tail, fluttering wool and chiffon teardrops.
We felt really strongly about a direction we were heading with pleating waves, and combining it with waves. So it's just taking plain fabric and really manipulating and cutting it to create texture. Most of the details on the dresses are things that we want the audience to see. So we wanted people to feel like they could look at it, see the clothes, see the details, and know that that was all hand embroidered by us instead of being a fabric that we bought.
Certain level, yeah, you can't do production in a factory.
So, our linings are put in by hand and things like that. The binding's done by hand.
All done by hand.
Our cutting's done by hand.
All the snaps are hand covered, which is, most people just get the hand covered snaps in their factory. Basically, if you buy a dress from us, there's like maybe 3 dresses in the world.
It's just really personal.
The sisters behind the artsy label Rodarte appear to do everything in tandem, from giving interviews to designing.
Laura and I almost work as one person.
The people always ask us, oh, well, can't Kate go do that and you go do this? And we're like, no.
For summer, the CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund finalists played with exaggerated silhouettes with a unique take on artistic influences.
This was the first time we had wanted to approach volume without being controlled. And I think we were just, obsessed with portraiture. We were obsessed with looking at Gainsborough portraits with roses and then with Avedon. And then it all came together in our minds. It just works.
It's interesting because we both went to Berkeley and we didn't have a formal design education. We studied art history and English, and we were really interested, I think, in our entire lives kind of collecting a lot on a visual level. And I think that Laura and I, from an early age, were sketching, and we knew what we were going to do. I just think that we had a different path, and maybe that sometimes I say to Laura, I think you just have to be born to do this.
I'm blown away. I love Kate and Laura's work. It's absolutely incredible. Their things are so well made. Their buttons are covered, their snaps are covered, the lining is impeccable. The craftsmanship, you do not see craftsmanship at their age. I was just at the Cristobal Balenciaga opening in Paris, and I feel that that is the level of work that they are aspiring to. Their work is austere, it's classic, they have completely their own vision. It's really incredible.
Soft feminine makeup and long pre-Raphaelite waves set the mood for the fall collection from Rodarte, a romantic vision inspired by the secret stories of portraits.
We were reading the newspaper, and there was an article about the Mona Lisa and how they had done scans of the painting to see the damage from time and different things like that. And what they revealed kind of was that she was originally wearing a white gauze gown and a bonnet, and it was something that in Italy women that had just given birth or were going to give birth would wear. So I just think the idea of a woman that has a bit of a different past than you kind of think about it, and that really stuck in our heads, and then it kind of spiraled from there.
To me, there was a kind of ornate quality, but then also an innocence. And I think that's what was interesting to me, this idea of a haunted type of portrait. So you had this court, a woman from a kind of Alaska's court, and yet at the same time, I think Laura and I tried to really push for the kind of innocence I think you sometimes see in those paintings. So it's about that heaviness and lightness, which is something that I think Laura and I return to probably every season. It seems that we do.
Lightness, heaviness, and the idea of secret interiors carried through to the construction of the garments themselves.
I think the shapes that we were trying to achieve were just things that you would draw something very freehand, and then
The challenge is to how do you achieve that with an actual garment. An interior structure, if anything, volume can be completely airless with tulle or something, and then if you do it in the right way, you can have the shape underneath to hold it up. And I think the trick is to make that seem like it's not there, to not know that there's that interior making the shape. So if it's light enough, you would never know.
I think they might be the hardest working girls in fashion. Yeah, I think that what they do is beautiful, and they really have such an appreciation for the craft of making clothes.
I think that Laura and I love to experiment with different shapes. As we grow from season to season, I'm just more curious about how to play and experiment, and I think it's more about being playful with what we do. I think that exploration of kind of fashion and design is what's so interesting to us. I think that we started with kind of an interest in Hayao Miyazaki and Japanese animation, and one of the reasons it was interesting to us was because it told a really kind of poignant and amazing story of delicate versus just kind of strength and kind of a ferocious, sinister element.
So here we are backstage at Rodarte. I'm with Missy Ryder, but she's not finished yet, so I'm showing you my BlackBerry. And we're doing like a ballet punky eye with floating eyeballs on the eyelid to give this little contrast to the dresses, which are really frothy and beautiful, but like almost handmade looking. So it's almost like the girls could have done their makeup themselves, except it's better because I did it. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, it's more precise.
For the Rodarte look, we're doing like ponytail, high, rock and roll, and we're adding like a touch of pink or red or blue, like a touch of painting.
This is a wonderful collection for them. In fact, I think it might be my favorite so far. It's based on Japanese animation. The clothes are very feminine and ethereal and light, which is something you'd expect from the Mulleavys. But then the accessories are really tough and hard and interesting, and they anchor this kind of fairy tale girl in a kind of more hostile landscape.
I always think in terms of like a duality. What is that other side to it that makes it so beautiful? And it's that contrast, that kind of that world where you could have something very sinister. I just felt like maybe going into this collection we had a better understanding of kind of what we wanted to develop, and we pushed ourselves a little bit further in terms of wanting to create something that was cohesive and had a specific type of impact. We said literally we want a dress to be an ocean, and then we tried to make that.
There's an incredible amount of heart, and I think there's also an incredible amount of skill.
It's amazing and fantastical and comes from this very refined and beautiful, magical imagination, but you can wear it.
Everything they touch, whether it's clothing they make a lot of arts and crafts projects, is really magical. And every season it becomes more opulent, more elaborate, and more magical when you actually put it on. You feel transformed.
For fall 2008, Laura and Kate Mulleavy added the dark edge of Japanese horror films to their ethereal aesthetic.
It started really with the idea of Japanese horror seen through modern Japanese horror films and kabuki theater, and how there's a long visual tradition of like these images of women and these images of of colors that to just tell a story.
We're doing a Japanese-inspired look, kind of like with kabuki overtones or undertones and a deep, dark, vampy lip. Sort of like Japanese horror film girls mixed with something a little more delicate. So it's a dark, nightmarish side of, but still very beautiful, of their clothing, just to give it a little hard edge and give the girls a rebellious look.
And I don't like the idea of perfection, because I think it's interesting that, Laura and I are very interested, on one hand in perfection, but I think, to be modern, you have to kind of deconstruct that. But obviously, like, we're not, we do it in a romantic way. I know that we're kind of pretty classic in most ways, I guess.
I think their show is absolutely spectacular. A very, very world-class show for two young women who live in Pasadena and work in Los Angeles, and who have kept themselves, while they work, removed from the sort of fray of fashion to great advantage. It's just incredible that people are making those clothes in America, and I love a punk ballerina. There's probably nothing better.
It's quite beautiful. All their work is quite beautiful, but I like this show almost the best of any of their work. There was a subtle reference to a time that I liked. It reminded me of early on in New York in the nightlife. Not punk, but something a little gothic and punk.
I feel that moving forward, really setting up their signature with those pretty evening looks and the beautiful colors and the beautiful knits. And I think when we're moving into slightly more challenging times, what fashion women are going to want are very special pieces. So, and the Rodarte girls delivered.
We're learners, this is our 6th show. It's like that learning process, and so if people respond to it in a passionate way, it's kind of the best thing you could ask for.
Kate and Laura Mulleavy prepared for their summer Rodarte show as friends and fans arrived. The cult classic film Donnie Darko inspired the collection, which was one of the highlights of New York Fashion Week.
To me, it's just a collection that's about, in a lot of ways, I think, just different kind of earth art or site-specific art. That's what inspired the collection. And artists like Robert Smithson and Nancy Holt. I think we were also kind of specifically looking at things like the spiral jetty and this idea of remnants or fossils. And so we tried to do things that were very skeletal, kind of like leather rib cages, and we just kind of flowed with that idea throughout the entire show. The knits were meant to be like broken bones, that's why there was metal, and kind of that was more of a rib kind of cage silhouette. The most inspiration came from the film Donnie Darko. We kind of just took that and in an abstract way developed our collection from that point.
You have an idea and you want to create something, and then it can come to life in different ways. I think that's all we pretty much work on, yeah.
Kate and Laura Mulleavy are really artists more than they are designers, and this season they really moved forward. They took small steps, but every piece they did was totally unique and beautiful, and we were all crazy about the last three gowns, really wearable. I think some of the other pieces are a little bit challenging for the real world, but you can't deny that they're all works of art. And the little ways that they moved things forward was to add the laser cut leather to the collection.
We just wanted to do leather in a way that was not approaching working with leather, because it was our first time, is going like, well, we're going to work with leather. How do people use it? It was more like, well, we're going to work with leather. How would we use it, and how do we use fabrics we normally work with? So it was kind of the idea of making our normal hand applicable to leather.
The Mulleavy sisters don't design with a faint of heart in mind.
Women should be bold and strong and intelligent.
Well, I worked very closely with Kate and Laura creatively to come up with the makeup look for Rodarte, and it's so fun working with them because their inspirations come from all over the place, and we were really looking into the subconscious, what you see in your dreams and how to put that onto a face. We paled out all their skin, so it's like a sleepwalker in the middle of the night, sleepwalking spirits. We email each other back and forth all these pictures and pictures and pictures of Mexican cemeteries, and there are these border towns where people like are caught sleepwalking because they're just so bored.
I just thought it was really beautiful with the lights in the shoes and the ghost makeup, and it's really beautiful.
The Rodarte show was very much a patchwork quilt of chiffon with florals, with lace pieces entwined. It had a very natural, very raw feel. But really, it was very soft in its interpretation. And so you had those incredibly crazy shoes, as always, but it had a fluidity and a beauty which I think comes from female sensibility.
Looking at just the clothes and ignoring the fact that Kate and Laura are just really great people. It seems that they're always trying to update what's sort of become their signature knits and a combination of textures and prints, and they did it really well this season.
To me, they really embody the modern American fashion spirit. You know, it's couture, yet it's really funky, and it's couture with a twist. And I think that's something that you don't see in Paris or you won't see in Milan. And I think America really, in that sense, provides that great platform. You know, combining the traditional with the modern. I think it's a very interesting combination.
I just think they make really artistic pieces, and there's a lot of thought and emotion that goes into everything.